Hi everybody! We're going to spend a little bit of time here talking about that big final paper I've mentioned a couple times, that big scary one that we might be a little bit nervous about. And I kind of want to explore what we're working towards so you can see how those assignments build upon each other into this big paper, but also to kind of take the mystery and maybe for some of us that anxiety and mitigate it a little bit. This is a big paper, but it's just a paper. We're going to take steps to get there. So I don't want you to be overwhelmed with this. The whole point of the class is to get you to this paper. We're going to have building blocks to get there. I'm not just going to be like 2 weeks before it's due to go write 20 pages. We'll get there. We'll work there. So stay with me, communicate, and we'll work together to have a successful journey to this big paper. That being said, we do need to talk frankly about what it is and what we're going to be expected to do. You'll notice that there's Fry dancing here in the corner, and because you guys reviewed all of my lovely videos so far, we know that Fry indicates something that is required. That kind of goes without saying. The whole point of this class is to write that big paper. It is required. If you do not submit this paper, we will not be able to find success in this class. It is worth 66% of our final grade, and what that equates to is 1,320 points. So it is by far the big bulk of class. And again, that's another reason why we do some of the smaller papers. Besides serving as building blocks to get here, you're sort of padding and giving you some point support in case we don't do as stellar on this big paper as we would hope to. Okay, so what is this big final paper that we have to work on? It's going to be the culmination of class. All the work that we do in this course is going to be towards that big paper in some context or another. It does need to be a minimum of 18 pages long, and I know that that's a big scary number for many of us, but you got this. It's going to come together quickly, and I know that you don't believe me yet, and that's totally okay. You will find success, and you will get to or even above 18 pages if we work together. I've had students who don't stop at 18 pages and they turn in like 25 or 30 pages, totally not expecting that of anybody. But you know what? If the muse gets you, go ahead and write longer. But you will get there. Trust me, you'll get to those 18 pages. What we're doing is we're going to research a topic in our field of interest or our career field. And in the coming weeks, we'll talk more about what that means. We're going to be exploring a problem of some sort in our field. And then we're going to take a stance regarding that problem. And then we're going to seek out some research to support, explore, and discuss that topic and to validate our stance in the argument. And this is key. Each one of those articles that we find has to be a minimum of 10 pages. And we will talk about this throughout the course. But they have to be 10 pages, excluding those references. There will be occasionally, and by occasionally I mean rarely, exceptions to that page count. If you are finding in your research that your articles are hitting less than 10 pages consistently, like maybe you're in a field and they just don't write a lot, and so you're looking through article after article after article, I'm talking like, you know, many articles are saying that they're not hitting that 10-page mark, talk to me and we'll discuss. Maybe it's a research strategy that's not leading you to find those articles, or maybe your field just doesn't write a lot. Now the thing is, I say that with a disclaimer, because the majority of us are going to find articles that are long enough. I've been teaching for a long time, and outside of teaching, my quote-unquote day job is actually doing research. My actual job, because I told you I'm a huge dork, is doing the research part of what I'm asking you guys to do for the university that I work at. So if you come to me and you say, hey Rowan, I'm only finding 6-page articles, I'm going to know if that's common for your field or not. So we'll talk about strategies to help you find those articles, or we'll talk about maybe if there's an alternative path to your success. But for largely, and we're going to assume all of us, we're going to need to have 10-page articles or longer. And then what we're going to be doing with those articles is reading them, annotating them. We'll talk about all that good stuff as the semester goes. And we're going to be using that information to support our stance and to explain some background information on that problem. A lot to take in, I know. Stay with me. We'll get there. So what's this idea of a problem? We're really going to kind of dive into this in the coming weeks. We're going to talk about what we call problemization, totally a word, but here's a quick kind of hint of what it is. We're going to look at something, anything in our field, question it, and then question it some more, and then question it some more, and then look at it as a problem. We are not writing research papers. I'm going to say that again. We are not writing research papers. We are writing expository papers. And what that means is we are writing an argumentative, supported argumentative paper. So we're going to do all this research, have information to support what we're saying, but we are essentially arguing a point. And again, we'll talk about this more as we go. Here are some two examples. I teach English. Here are two examples. Okay, so let's say that I'm a film major. I'm studying film. And I'm genuinely curious about why some shows succeed and why some shows fail. So at this point, we're just talking about what an idea for us to dive into is. I'm curious, and I know that I'm obsessed with Firefly. So maybe for this big paper that I'm going to have to spend 16 weeks with, I'm going to want to write something about why Firefly failed. Like, that's what I'm interested in. That's my field of interest. I want to know why great shows like Firefly fail. So I'm going to start asking questions or problematizing this idea. So maybe I'm going to ask myself, who's watching Firefly now that it's off the air, and how are they? Like, are they using Hulu? Are they using Netflix? Are they stealing it? How are they doing it? Why did Fox cancel the show in the first place? How is it still popular? Why is it still a thing more than a decade after it was canceled? And does that impact Fox anyway? Does it impact the fans anyway? Where are the fans watching it? What is the big impact Firefly had on Fox? So essentially what we're doing here is we're taking this idea, this thing that we're interested in, asking questions about it, researching it, and then finding a problem that we can argue. So we start asking all these questions, and I'm starting to base my research off these questions. So I start to find some answers to these questions, but not all of them. I've noticed through my research that people are talking about how the cancellation of Firefly was a problem for Fox. It was problematic because it resulted in a serious decrease in revenue and heralded a massive shift in entertainment. I'm not going to say that Firefly is the reason why we have alternative ways to watch stuff like Netflix and Hulu, but maybe it was a contributing factor. Maybe that's something that I can research. People began to ditch regular network TV to follow their shows to digital providers. So as my paper kind of comes together, it becomes an expository research essay exploring why Fox got rid of Firefly, what problems this caused for Fox, and how Fox can resolve it. So I know it's a lot to take in, and we will talk about it more as we go. But we have a major, we think about it, we question it, and we find a problem to explore. Here's another example. I'm an English major, and I'm really drawn to this idea of chat and text lingo popping up in academic writing. So I'm going to ask some questions. Who is using chat and lingo in their school papers, and who allows it? As we know from the syllabus, I don't allow it, but maybe other professors, or more interestingly, maybe like middle school teachers and high school teachers are allowing it. Why? And what level of success are they having it? Why do students think that this language is acceptable in academic discourse? Where is that idea coming from? How is the integration of such lingo affecting their development, if at all? Where does this occur most, at what school age, what country? And what is the impact on society if it becomes accepted practice for us to LOL our way through academic discussions? So again, we have our major, and we start asking questions about it. And we start doing our research to find answers to these questions, and we begin to discover that English faculty at a college level do not usually advocate the use of such language in their papers. But maybe they don't know how to address it. Maybe they don't know how to change this shift in communications. So maybe the question here, maybe the problem is that there's too little training, time, and resources to retrain educators to address the new way students are communicating. And so my paper becomes an expository research essay exploring the negative impact language development of students in underfunded schools, focusing on that whole lingo idea and its lasting ramifications to student success. So again, I don't know, a little scary, right? Big concept, but we will talk about these concepts as we move forward. I just kind of want to give you an idea of the whole purpose of this paper. So now let's get to the nitty-gritty of that big paper, what we really kind of care about for success. And again, any questions, we'll talk about it. Okay, stay with me. We'll hang out together. We'll talk about it. It's going to be a great time. Might not be a great time, but it's going to be a great success. Nitty-gritty. Details for that final draft. It has to be 18 pages, excluding all the extra. You have to write 18 pages. What do I mean by extras? I mean cover pages, reference pages, annexes, any of that kind of stuff. We don't count towards our actual composition. So we're going to write 18 pages. Again, it's big and scary, but trust me, we'll get there. It needs to be written in an appropriate font, chosen with your doc style. And I say that because not all of our doc styles are going to require the same font, but you know, you can't turn on a paper that's written in Comic Sans, right? Or worse, Papyrus. I actually don't know which one's worse. What do you think? Which one's worse? We want to make sure that we do have all those extras that are required by our documentation and formatting style. For example, APA will require an abstract and a cover page, but MLA doesn't. And we'll talk about that more as we go. It's going to need to include the 12+ academic sources that we're going to work together to find, and they have to be properly integrated and cited. We're not just going to simply say, hey, I did all this research, and not actually use any of it. I implore you guys to do the steps it takes to get to this paper. If we just turn in the bare minimum of all those assignments, the skeleton outlines, the zombie outlines, the drafts, we're going to feel a lot of pressure that last month of class, and I don't want you guys to feel that pressure. So please do not wait till the last minute to be dedicated to your success. There will be no extensions given for this big assignment, no late papers accepted under excuse me, under any circumstances. So let's talk. Let's keep those communication lines open. I know it's a big, scary paper, but we'll get you there. You're going to do great. You're going to find that success. And then we're going to kind of break down the grading. I'm not going to go through all this, but I do have this available in our semester resources, but it's kind of give you clear insight as we dive into the paper, building that paper, how your grading is going to be. It gives you a goal for my Type A students to kind of work towards. And these are the various different kind of key things that we're going to be talking about to meet the requirements for that paper. Got to have 18 pages. We do have 2 points per 2%, if I could speak, right? 2% taken off for every page that's short. So if we turn in 16 pages, we only lose 4%. We start out with a 96. So it's not the end of the world if you don't hit 18, but you guys will. It's going to be great. We will also talk about focus, making sure we've got development and critical thinking and some depth to our paper. We're going to be talking about synthesizing multiple voices, analyzing our ideas, audience awareness. We're going to talk about audience awareness in the coming weeks, and you guys are going to learn something really interesting about me on that week. Organization grammar will be a thing that we'll talk about and we'll be expected to have. This is a work in progress, guys. I'm not expecting perfect grammar, okay, ever. But we will have some key ideas that we're going to want to be hitting. And then documentation, we've mentioned many times, is going to be a big part of your paper. It's worth 9% of your paper. So there will be a lot of supplemental material. I will always be available to make sure that your papers are formatted. So let's make sure that we keep an open dialogue about that. And then I actually show you guys what the grading rubric will be. And again, this document is available in your semester resources. So that's our big paper. I know that it's a big, scary concept. It's kind of a complex paper, but we will talk about it throughout the semester. We're taking baby steps. We're taking baby steps to get there. So let's not freak out about this paper. It's for future us to be worried about, and it's not going to be a worry at all because each of our assignments are going to build components to this final paper. You guys got this. It's going to be an amazing semester, and if you have any questions at all, hit me up and we'll talk through it, okay? You got this.